Hey guys, Claire here, and in today's video, we're gonna get into the first 3 episodes of Harry and Meghan on Netflix. Now, before we get into my thoughts on it, let's just start off by saying, my goodness, even though the UK press is trying really hard to nitpick and find faults and say that it's not doing well, the facts, as usual, say something entirely different. It's been reported that in the UK alone, the 2.4 million viewers have watched the first episode of Harry and Meghan on Netflix, which is more than double the number of people who watched The Crown. And keep in mind that before The Crown came out, there was lots and lots of weeks of press drama surrounding it. So it's pretty interesting that Harry and Meghan's show has double the amount of viewership without doing much press at all. I mean, they dropped the trailer, like a week before its release. So that's insane, and that's in the UK alone. And if that wasn't interesting enough, it has been within the top 3 on so many different places globally. It's number 1 in the UK, which is odd because I remember a lot of royalists and royal reporters saying that they weren't going to watch it. It's going to be horrible. They're getting up their Netflix subscription. Girl, what a joke. So it's number 1 in the UK, number 1 in the US, number 1 in Canada, number 1 in Germany, number 2 in Italy, number 2 in Spain, number 3 in Nigeria, number 4 in Turkey, number 1 in South Africa, number 3 in Panama, number 4 in Brazil, number 3 in India, number 2 in Mexico, number 2 in Jamaica, number 2 in Poland, number 2 in Trinidad, number 2 in Trinidad, number 1 in Switzerland, number 2 in Kenya. Those figures are insane. And I feel like a lot of the members of the UK press and royalists and of course the palace is really pissed off because Netflix has a ginormous reach. And 2 of the huge giants in the entertainment field that Harry and Meghan have secured enormous contracts with are just that, global giants. So their reach, their words, their projects reaches a mass of people that the UK press can't compete with. And that irritates them. Now, in the lead up to the release of the show, there are different camps of people. Some people in the Sussex Stan camp saying, I don't even think that it's going to be a very harsh, cutting-edge attack on the monarchy as the press is trying to present it to be. And there's another camp that's saying, no, I hope it's horrible. I hope they go in. I hope that they're as cruel and calculating as the palace and the press has been towards them. And as we have seen in the first 3 episodes, that is just not the case. It's very intentional, very measured, but very clear. And I love the way that it emphasizes a lot of the messed up narratives that the press has amplified over the years when it comes to Meghan. I love that they took the time to show that Meghan gave up a lot to be with Harry, unlike other members of the family who really didn't have anything going for them besides marrying into that family. Meghan was a self-made woman, a self-made millionaire, a self-made philanthropist, had very close relationships with people who, a lot of these royalists assume you can only hobnob with if you are married into the family. And for Meghan, that just simply wasn't true. She was already friends with Sophie and her husband, the Prime Minister of Canada. She already was a UN Women Ambassador. She was already engaged in doing a lot of philanthropic work. A woman who has a top-notch education from one of the top universities in the US. Self-made in every way. Very politically active. Very civic-minded. So I love that they took the time to share that, especially for people who didn't know about Meghan before she got into a relationship with Harry. I also love the way that they subtly corrected a lot of the other false narratives without being harsh and overbearing about it. The narrative about her being a bully, and then you see one of their former staff members show up, saying that she has no friends from back in the day because she's a social climber and she just kind of gets rid of everybody from her past life. And then you see her childhood friend shows up saying that she doesn't have a relationship with any family members, and you see her niece shows up saying that none of Harry's friends like her, and then you see Nikki shows up. The series has done a really wonderful job of humanizing Harry and Meghan. Now for us, that's not necessary. We see them. We love them. But in the press, they've done their damnedest to paint Meghan as the ultimate villain. This cruel, calculated social climber. She's horrible. She bullies staff, and she made Kate cry, and she's so horrible and so demanding, and this, that, and the other. They took the time to show that she's just a human girl who fell in love with a man who just happened to be from one of the most well-known families. So taking the time to humanize them, to intentionally offset some of these false narratives, showing them as just a couple in love with each other, in love with their children, trying to live life on their own terms and create a safe and loving environment for their children. And I'd say the way that it was edited and produced is 100 times more effective had they just went in guns a-blazing, Jerry Springer style. Now, there are some people who have taken notice that Jason Knopf has been mentioned and alluded to. And we're still holding out hope that in the final 3 episodes, they'll make a very distinct association between a lot of the issues at the hands of Jason Knopf were really in conjunction with, or with the permission of, William. And I really want them to make that clear. I've seen a lot of people on social media fighting back at the privacy narrative. I love the statement that they put out addressing that. Also love that I saw an article on BuzzFeed saying just that, and you see American media sort of slowly picking up on the "they never said anything about privacy." It's about damn time, because I'm sick and tired of hearing people, well, they want privacy. No, they didn't. They didn't talk about privacy. That's another narrative of the UK press. And the way the UK press has been losing their goddamn minds over this documentary. I mean, someone showed a video scrolling down, and you see the countless articles from the Daily Mail, the Sun, the Times, like all of UK media just going in, coming up with the most far-fetched nonsense and takeaways. They're going after Meghan having a little joke on herself about the curtsy thing, twisting Harry's words and saying that he's directly attacking William and Kate. And it doesn't really bother me, because people are tuning into the documentary and then they're looking at these headlines. They're looking at these weird hashtags and these nasty attacks from royalists and MAGA nuts. And they're like, well, wait a minute. The things you say, the articles you write, the math ain't mathin'. Because this is not what Harry said. This is not what Meghan said or did. So all of this crap you're saying, maybe I've been wrong to assume that the things that I've read and heard about them are correct. And I've seen a few people saying, they've always been Harry and Meghan fans, but some of their older relatives haven't been, but they've actually watched the show and they've changed their minds. So, like I said, I feel like the way that it's been filmed, that it's been edited and produced, is top notch. Job well done. It reminds me of that saying, when you're heated and you're in an argument, you gotta take a step back, take a breather, and then approach it with a clear head. And I feel like this documentary is sort of like that. They've had the time to simmer and stew and think about it, and now they're responding level-headed, open, direct, authentically. Well done. Now, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of stars, blue ticks on Twitter showing love, and one of the most surprising ones that I saw was from the Anita Baker. That's insane. My mom used to play Anita Baker on those little cassettes, with the tape and the boombox. One of her favorite cassettes was one side all the tracks of Anita Baker's greatest hits, and the other was Michael Bolton. So when I saw her tweet showing some love and support to Harry, I thought that was hilarious. And I texted my mom, I'm like, Mom, you would never believe who was just showing some love to Harry and Meghan. She got a kick out of it. So that was sweet. Now, I love that they called Scammy out. I don't want to say her name. But seeing Ashley, Meghan's niece, come on there and just really give her side of the story, because we've never heard from her before. If you're a Meghan stan and you used to follow her on Instagram and Twitter, then you would know that Meghan and Ashley had a close relationship. She shared images of them over the years. So it was nice to see her, and also to hear her side of the story, to really show that Samantha is an unhinged bully. And I'm seeing a lot of videos of her youngest child and her mother circulating over social media, again, reminding people that this woman who has spent all of these years taking all of this money from members of the UK press and even the Australian press as well, saying all these things about Meghan, but then you don't have a relationship with your family. The relationship with her and her father wasn't that good to begin with. The half-brother said that, but of course, he took the money and joined in on the Meghan bashing bandwagon. But 2 of her eldest kids were adopted by the grandparents? And then the younger one? I mean, the things that she shared about growing up around her? Good Lord. And you have the gal to take money and try to bash Meghan for not being familial enough? I'm happy to see that people are finally noticing that she has been the problem all along. Long before Meghan even met Harry, that woman has had an issue with Meghan, has never liked her. She's vindictive and cruel. So I love that that's being exposed as well. What were some of your cutest moments? If you've already watched it, which I'm assuming that you have, what were your favorite moments? For me, there were plenty, but I really love the exchange between Archie and Harry, where Harry is so excited to share his bird watching moment with Archie, and Archie just is paying no mind. He's more focused on his little foot being dirty. That was adorable.
Chose to be this close to my eyes. That's like watch. Because they're scared of you. He's good.
I gotta do this foot, Mama, because I believe you.
And it was really wonderful to see glimpses of Harry as a dad. Over the years, we really haven't gotten to see that much. We see little tidbits of him with Meghan when they were still senior working royals. We saw one photo of Harry and Archie when he was still a baby, but we really haven't seen him in daddy mode, or should I say zaddy mode. But it was really nice to see him reading to the kids, playing with them, just living his best life. I really love the moment where Harry was talking about the things that are on his list. You know, when Meghan told the interviewer that Harry had an extensive list of what he was looking for. And they asked him, well, what's on the list? And he points to Meghan and he says, this is the list. He's so sweet.
He had a list, apparently, of what he was looking for.
Let's not go there.
An extensive list.
There were a few things on that list.
I'm not showing the list. Good, nice try. This is the list.
Good answer.
Now let's get to interesting revelations when it comes to Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, and Netflix. So this is the second time in the past month that Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace has openly and publicly lied. Let's not forget, I think in the past video or the video before that, we talked about the Ngozi-Fulani situation with Lady Hussey. Now keep in mind, as soon as she shared her exchange and her feelings about the exchange on Twitter, Buckingham Palace quickly got in front of it saying, oh my God, it's horrible. We have reached out to her, we apologize. And then Ngozi said, well, no, they never reached out to me. So that was a lie. Then they changed the lie, saying that they reached out to her organization. Then she said, no, they didn't reach out to me and they didn't reach out to the organization. Lie. Now, Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace said that Netflix never reached out to them. Then a royal source said that neither Buckingham Palace nor Kensington Palace or any member of the family were approached to comment on the series. Then Netflix came in and they were like, not on my watch. Netflix made it clear that they did in fact reach out to the household offices of both, and they call them by their name, honey. They weren't like, we reached out to Buckingham Palace, we reached out to Kensington Palace. They were like, no. We reached out to the offices of the Prince and Princess of Wales, King Charles and Queen Consort Camilla. Netflix is not playing games. They're like, what you're not gonna do is lie. And I don't doubt that Netflix is going above and beyond to make sure that everything is smooth and by the numbers. Everything could be backed up with receipts upon receipts. And quickly enough, they sort of shut up about it. But that's the second time that they've been caught lying. Now, I don't know. Maybe the people that work for them are just really not good at their job. Or maybe they're good at their job, but they just don't listen to the advice of the professionals hired, because they're very sloppy. And I think I've noticed a lot of people commenting that Queen Elizabeth and the way she handled things, even though I'm still not a fan of her, of the things that went on during her reign, but she really steadfastly stood up for the never complain, never explain. And she seemed to handle PR issues far more smoothly and effectively than Charles and William. I'll say that. I think, surprisingly, Charles is far more sloppy than I assumed he would be. William as well. They seem to leak a lot from a very emotional place. I think they're irritated by it, so they just put out the statement, or both statements, because just like with the Ngozi situation, they put out one statement that was called out, then they had to fix it, but they really didn't, because they just lied again. So that's interesting. And it goes to show that what we've been saying for a while now is when it comes to Harry and Meghan, the press in the palace has really tried to nail home the narrative that Harry and Meghan are liars. Recollections may vary, but now that's coming back to bite them in the butt, because that's the first thing a lot of people were quoting when they were publicly called out for lying by Netflix. Recollections may vary. It's always projection with these folks. They lie all the time, leak all the time, plant stories all the time, backstab each other all the time. And then they turn around and have the UK press that's been fed palace talking points say that Harry and Meghan are the ones doing the backstabbing. Harry and Meghan are the ones that are the aggressors. Harry and Meghan are the ones that are lying. None of this mess would have happened if they would have just handled that situation behind the scenes with a little bit of respect and integrity and a dash of compassion. You know, if they were decent people and that was a decent institution, they could have navigated this culture shock, or whatever you want to call it, the tensions within the family, in a far more humane and compassionate way. And I'm sure Harry and Meghan would have still found a way to serve the institution. There would have never been a Megxit. There would have never been an Oprah interview. There would have never been a Harry and Meghan on Netflix. There would have never been an Archetypes. But they couldn't do that. Also love seeing on social media a lot of people calling out the fact that there are so many people within that family that have had tell-all interviews, books. I mean, Fergie did 2 Oprah interviews. People bringing up videos of the sort of Windsor reality show where the Queen was even caught calling or referring to someone as a gorilla. But of course, when Harry and Meghan does it, it's a problem. Harry and Meghan are being enterprising and securing the bag with such huge media giants. And when I say secure the bag, those deals are huge. Edward tried to do that back in the day, unsuccessfully, much like his dabble into the military. A hot mess, brief. They've all had enterprising endeavors. Now they're going back and forth about, oh, well, they should take the titles and this and that, you know, the usual crap. But nobody says anything about stripping titles when the Queen's cousin was using his title and proximity to the crown to fill his pockets and engage in relationships with some questionable folk. Nobody was talking about stripping titles when Fergie, who is no longer a working royal and hasn't been for years, has been hawking her titles and proximity to the crown to hustle. And I mean, I think she's one of the ultimate royal hustlers. Homegirl has done Weight Watchers. I've lost count on how many books and different endeavors she's done, all while using her title. And not once did anyone say anything about it. I mean, even Charles and the Queen were out here selling booze and biscuits. Nobody complains about that. Princess Anne's daughter, Zara, had some sorry little jewelry business. That was a flop. The problem is that Meghan and Harry do what they've all tried to do, but just far more successfully. And while they're doing it away from the firm, far more successfully than anyone has ever been able to do it, they're proving and showing that you don't need to be a royal to do these things. And they're also exposing a lot of the foul aspects of the family, of the firm, of the press, of that entire environment. And that is why they can't shut up about Harry and Meghan attacking this. It's not an attack, baby. They're just exposing the rotten aspects of that ecosystem. And bravo to them. Also, let's circle back to the Ashley situation. I found it very interesting that they shared that they were advised not to invite Ashley. And then you have the palace going behind Meghan's back with the press to plant the story about her not inviting her family members. So I'm happy they touched on that. Oh, and before I forgot, you guys, we finally got to hear Mama Doria's voice. She is so sweet. I really love the segment of her talking and sharing her thoughts on witnessing all the hell that Meghan has to go through. And I mean, I'm not the only one who really enjoyed hearing Mama Doria speak. She was trending on Twitter for like almost an entire day. So many people on social media was showing a lot of support to Mama Doria, which is awesome.
And there's something else I wanted to touch on. When Harry said, "I am my mother's son," fundamentally correct. Fundamentally. That's the post. Nothing else to say. He is the son of Diana, Princess of Wales. In a vast amount of ways. And William is Charles's son. Completely. Look at this. That's Diana. Diana is still with us. Through him. That is her legacy. Completely. She led with the heart. He led with the heart. She tried to protect her boys. He's trying to protect his family. She was calling out the bullshit. He calling out the bullshit.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.